Okay.
So it's the exact opposite of what you insinuated.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
That went well.
In this video, I'm going to watch and review a deposition that has a great teaching moment for lawyers, but for the life of me, I cannot remember why. Welcome to Law Venture, a channel devoted to lawyers and future lawyers. My name is Jarrett Stone. I'm the owner of Stone Firm P LLC, and in this video, I'm going to review and react to another lawyer's deposition. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like Law Venture has kind of missed out on this lawyer reacts to X, Y, and Z trend/wave that's been going on. Because I've seen a ton of lawyers on YouTube have incredible success providing legal knowledge and entertainment value for non-lawyers and non-law students, just reacting and reviewing and commentating on anything and everything that's going on in the world. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, this deposition is also coming at the perfect time because I've been pumping out the content related to all things deposition. In fact, I just released the free online course to dominating your next deposition over at lawventure.com. I'll slide a link so you can go check that out. Again, it's free, and who doesn't love free? And if you're new to Law Venture, consider subscribing so you can see future content as it's rolled out. And as I was planning all this content release and the creation of the course, I wanted to provide examples to help make some of the abstract concepts a little bit more concrete. So of course, I turned to YouTube to see if we could find deposition examples so that we could maybe take some gold nuggets, learn some lessons to ultimately level up our depositions. So all of this happened about 6 months ago, and while I was doing this search, I found Dave Portnoy deposition, Michael Rappaport's lawyer is no match for El Prez. Based on that title, no idea what this video is about. Because here's the thing, whenever I watched this video originally, I wrote a note to myself to come back to this video because there's a great teaching experience for the Law Venture community members to learn about involving depositions. The problem is, life's happened, work's happened, Law Venture stuff has happened, a lot's happened, and I, for the life of me, can't remember what happened to this video, which may make for a more pure reaction video. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna kind of watch my first impression of me reacting to this video, where I'll stop it and provide some learning tips and tricks as they come, assuming that they exist. All right, let's dive in.
This is a blog of yours, El Presidente, February 21st, 2018, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And at the very bottom you write, "This shirt haunting him for the rest of his life is enough for me. No need to rub it in more with the champagne." Do you see that?
No.
Very bottom of the document.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's this shirt. Yep. Okay.
And you're referring to the shirt with him that we've talked about today,
Correct.
correct? And why? What about that shirt do you believe would haunt him for the rest of his life?
He's depicted as a clown.
A clown with herpes?
All right, you said that, not me.
Well, wasn't that your intent, sir?
No,
was
you
not
actually
expecting
listened
that.
to a video of me just saying it was a clown shirt.
I see. But you knew by February 21st, 2018, that people were at Barstool were saying that the T-shirt depicted him with herpes, correct?
Yes, I knew that.
Okay.
But that's not why I thought. The clown shirt's personal to me. You have to be a real idiot to get it.
Seems really comfortable as a deponent.
Do you recall your testimony earlier today that you created the clown shirt? You designed and created the clown shirt after you terminated Mr.
Yes,
Rappaport?
I do.
Okay.
The attorney doesn't seem confident.
That is in fact not true, isn't it? Isn't it true that you designed the clown shirt prior to terminating Mr. Rappaport because you were looking for a reason to terminate him?
Objection.
What?
Isn't it
Mischaracterizes the
true
evidence.
that your testimony today that you
That's news to
designed
me.
the clown shirt after terminating Mr. Rappaport is false testimony?
Not
Objection.
to my
So the lawyer's phrasing the question as, isn't it true that this is false testimony? It's phrasing. Phrasing could be better there.
knowledge, is not.
Isn't it true, sir, that you had designed the T-shirt before terminating Mr. Rappaport, and that you had planned to concoct a reason to terminate him, and we're planning on releasing it as soon as you terminated him.
Objection,
no idea what you're
misstates
talking
the evidence, argumentative.
What exhibit is it? Okay, this will be exhibit number 2.
So I know what the lawyer's trying to do here. Honestly, it's a great teaching experience for anyone who's new with depositions, and I don't mean to insult the lawyer, but he's kind of making a rookie mistake, and I can kind of see it, which is he's jumping to the end without having pinned down the witness on the particular statement. So they've already talked about one version of the statement, and apparently there's a different version of the statement that happened outside of the deposition that conflicts with the previous testimony earlier in the deposition that we didn't see. And so the lawyer's jumping to the end by saying these two statements conflict without having shown this outside the deposition statement. And so what the lawyer's trying to do, which is a bold strategy that I don't know if it would ever work effectively outside of TV, is to have this deposition statement.
Do you recall your testimony earlier today that you created the clown shirt? You designed and created the clown shirt after you terminated Mr.
Yes.
And then this point that the lawyer's trying to make, that it conflicts.
That is in fact not true, isn't it? Isn't it true that you designed the clown shirt prior to terminating Mr. Rappaport because you were looking for a reason to terminate him?
Get Mr. Portnoy to, I don't know, say, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Show the exhibit of the outside deposition statement that conflicts with the earlier testimony.
Okay, this will be exhibit number 2.
And then have that gotcha moment. What this lawyer should be doing is, okay, earlier you testified about this. Now let's talk about this particular statement with this particular exhibit. And then go through that exhibit. And then once you show this conflicts with this statement, then you pin them down. Then you say, okay, help me, make sense of this. Earlier today, you said this. And then now we just, heard this exhibit where you say that. And those two obviously conflict. And then put the pressure on him to where he can maybe try and talk out of it, but he may also look bad in trying to talk out of it if those two statements are conflicting themselves. I don't know, based on what we've watched so far, if they will actually conflict, but pin them down first and then maybe do look, they conflict.
What exhibit is it? Okay, this will be exhibit number 2. This is exhibit number 2.
Man, the exhibit binder means there are a lot of exhibits.
We started to talk about this, and then I had trouble with the video, so we stopped.
Uh-huh.
But you recall your testimony earlier today that the picture that you came up with, the T-shirt that you designed, you did all of that after you terminated Mr. Rappaport, correct?
Correct.
Isn't it true, sir, that in fact you actually had the picture ready to go and that you were in fact just waiting to use something you could to justify your termination of Mr. Rappaport and then use it at that point?
No.
Okay.
That's a horrible question. I know it's a leading question, but it's way too long to where you're trying to insert facts into the question. Get the facts first and then have the conclusion at the end. Isn't it true that you did this and did this and did this and did this and did this? Why not you show that he did this, he did this, he did this, he did this, and then have him explain how those things aren't aligned, how there's a conflict of some sort. That is not the way to handle it. And you're just going to get a quick no, and then it's like, okay, now what? Now I have to go and prove that the answer should be yes by actually going through each and every fact, which is what he should have done at the very beginning and help really solidify this. Okay, that's a rant. This gets me a little worked up sometimes.
Okay, I'm going to play for you a video, and I'll want you to, I'll have some questions for you after. It's Stool Scenes, episode 52, I Am Crappaport Stereo Fraudcast.
This lawyer doesn't seem confident.
23506. Okay. And this begins at 2:51
Okay.
of the video.
The ocean firm
texts went in order. I fired the wrong Rappaport, then I fired the real Rappaport, and then I said, Welker, make this shirt. Because I knew I was waiting for him to say something. Like, so I had him, well, I'll just wait till Rappaport opens his mouth, and I'll be like, boom.
You say privately,
So, so what did you mean, sir, when you said that you knew Rapport was going to say something and then you would have it ready to go, boom?
I don't know if you misinterpreted that. What I said on that was after when this all went down, I knew I had to fire him. I sent a text to the wrong Rappaport, different one. Then I fired Mike Rappaport. I said on that, so after he was fired, the third text was to our t-shirt guy to create the shirts because I knew Rappaport was going to go off the rails, which he did. And then once he was off the rails, we put the shirt on. So this is all post-firing, so I don't know what you mean by a predetermined thing.
Well, let me play it one more time, and then I'll have a question about a specific statement that you make, okay?
Anyways, he's the only idiot who said that, but every situation is fucking different. It's a no-brainer. Like, I was like, oh, should I fire him? It's like, oh, he's fucking dumb.
How long did it take you to hone those clown shirts? That's one of the most vicious things I've ever seen.
Oh, that was instant. Like, I was mad we had other shirts out before. I knew once we did it that it was like, I think my three texts went in order. I fired the wrong Rappaport, then I fired the real Rappaport, and then I said, Welker, make this shirt. Because I knew I was waiting for him to say something. Like, so I had him like, well, I'll just wait till Rappaport opens his mouth, and I'll be like, boom.
Okay, so you said you knew he was going to say something, and so you had it ready, and when he said it, you were like, boom. What do you mean by that?
I just explain it. Once we fired Rappaport, I knew he was going to do things like he did, which is challenging me to a fight, make pictures of himself having sex with me from behind, things like that. When he did that, I was going to release the shirt. I'd have it ready to go. So I don't know, like
So
your
you're not-
characterization of it being made before he was fired, that contradicts it.
The photo, when you said you knew he was going to say something and you had it ready to go, does that not mean that you were waiting for him to say something that you could then use to terminate him?
This video is after he was fired. I literally say in it, the guy goes, when did you have the shirt? I go, 3 things happened. I fired the wrong Rappaport. I fired Mike Rappaport. Mike Welker, who are our t-shirt guys. I go, the third, 1, 2, 3. So I fired Rappaport. The next text was to our t-shirt guy to get this shirt ready for when Mike Rappaport said something about me and escalate this, because at this point he had it. Then Rappaport proceeded to challenge me to a fight. I believe this is Sarlane, who's called me repeatedly, and then made pictures of himself having sex with me from behind. That's when I put the shirt on sale. Okay. So it's the exact opposite of what you insinuated.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
That went well.
This lawyer lost a lot of juice from this question. There's no way he didn't. I mean, I haven't seen everything that happened before or after. The context that I'm privy to is basically what you just watched. And the fact that the lawyer comes in guns blazing and then at the end is like, oh, I see, and kind of like concedes defeat there. This is why preparation is key. And I don't want to make assumptions here, and I don't want to bash this lawyer for not doing well, because maybe he did great on all the other portions of the deposition. I have no idea. But for those that have taken the free online course on depositions, you know that I'm all about preparation and strategizing before your deposition, before it actually occurs. There's a monster lesson that you should be checking out, and the link that was sliding above earlier that you may have to go back to. But that lesson states very clearly my thoughts on the fact that you need to script out line by line every single question that you're asking. And the reason why you need to do that is not so you can stick to the script, I don't recommend that, but so you can attack every single question with the worst case scenario response and answer. In doing so, you're going to realize, okay, either this is a bad fact that I thought was good, but is no bueno, or this is how I can maybe handle these bad answers and then spin it in a positive light, or here's maybe a route I should take. The fact that the the statements that were recorded were pretty clear. It happened 1, 2, and then 3. it's not far-fetched to assume that the deponent, Mr. Portnoy, in this situation, would say exactly what he ended up saying. If I'm the lawyer who's asking questions, in my mind during preparation, that's the worst case response I could get, that it occurred after the firing actually happened. And so how would I be able to respond to that? How would I be able to handle it? Or if I can't get over that issue, if that bad fact is so obvious, but also so detrimental to what I'm trying to prove, maybe I need to scrap it. Maybe I need to take a different approach with my questions. For example, like we talked about earlier with one of my previous rants, if the lawyer handled it differently to where he ended up saying, okay, let's talk about this statement earlier in the context of the deposition, the one that he tried to originally use to impeach. And then maybe at some point later in the deposition, referred to that particular exhibit, talked about that particular exhibit, fleshed it out. He may, before trying to make a point, realize, oh, okay, this actually isn't a fact worth, a hill worth dying on, and this isn't something that I should blow out of proportion, because that's a pretty reasonable response. And then in that situation, you move on and you go to other fights that are worth having and other testimony that's worth fleshing out. Okay, let's flip the script very briefly before we wrap up. I have to give credit to Mr. Portnoy's lawyer, because he didn't get defensive. He didn't just object. He didn't try and spoon feed answers to his client. He didn't have these long speaking objections that were potentially improper. He actually, for the most part, was very hands off, let his client do the testifying, and his client knocked it out of the park with the response, so much so that the client obviously is leaning back and is like, well, that went well. And if you're able to prepare your client, or if you're fortunate to have a client who can handle situations like that, that means you've done your job in preparing your client for their deposition. Remember our lesson where we talked about defending depositions. Silence is golden, and if you're the lawyer in this situation who is silent the entire time or most of the time, then you're in a golden situation because your client is sufficiently and properly prepared, and that probably means that your client is in control of the deposition, and that definitely means a good thing. So that sums up this video. If you're still watching at this point, I hope that means you liked it. And if that's the case, don't forget to hit the like button down below. It helps fuel the YouTube algorithm so videos like these can reach more people and ultimately help more people. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, or if you just want to say hi, leave those in the comment section down below. With all that said, I'll see you in the next video.